Happy Thursday, Wholesale to Million, YouTube family. How are you guys doing today? Man, I'm bringing you guys back with another powerhouse interview. This one is special. I call this one the Young Hustler. Man, he's 23 and he's killing it in the wholesaling and wholesaling business. He's doing about 40 G's a month virtual wholesaling, and he's from San Diego. And you guys, if you do enjoy this interview, come on now. Put those hands and smash that thumbs up for me. If you guys are new to the channel, I like to bring on some people from the powerhouse. They're doing, they're doing a lot of deals. And I'm going to have our special guest share with you guys his stories, how he got into real estate, the whole wholesaling side. And then after that, we're just going to jump straight into it. Get it, where's he's getting his motivated sellers leads, right? What's the best marketing channel that's working for him? How's he going to find his cash buyer? And how does he sell his deals? Like straight to the juice. Anybody else that you guys want me to interview, drop it in the comment below and I'll get them on. And you guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. Smash the subscribe button. My goal for 2019 is to get the family to 100,000 subscriber by the end of 2019. So help me, you guys. And for those of you who haven't followed me on Instagram, hit me up on IG. Go to Khang, Khang, like a period, WTM. Let's get right into it. Help me welcome Greg. What up, buddy?
What's going on? How you doing, man?
Absolutely great, dude. It's been raining so much here, dude.
Oh, yeah. Up in Washington, that's what they all say. They're like, it's great in the summer, but in the winter, it just rains every day.
Yeah. So, Greg, dude, let's jump right into it, man. Share with everybody your stories. Like, I want to know, like, your story. Dude, if you live in a basement, tell me you live in a basement. Like, I want to know the dirt, like, your true stories. How do you merge into the wholesaling? And then we're going to get into the juice.
Sure, absolutely. So, I got started in real estate about three and a half years ago now. I went to a seminar. I was very young. I think I was 20 years old at the time. And this guy was talking about doing deals with no money, and I had no money and I wanted to make some money. So it kind of was like a perfect storm there. So I ended up signing up for some guru program, nothing too crazy expensive. And that kind of got my foot in the door. So I was kind of committed at that point. I invested a little bit in myself and kind of hit the ground running. The big thing they said was take massive action. So that's what I started doing. I started spinning my wheels very hard. A lot of activity, not a lot of productivity, and I had to learn the hard way a bunch of times. So after about 9 months of really, swinging the bat, I was able to have a base hit, did my first deal. Then I did another deal a couple months after that. And then I started to understand marketing a little bit better at that point. And then I started to consistently, do deals like every month. And then, after that, it became, it started to become more of a business. And fast forward till now, now we're doing deals in a couple different states, wholesaling and wholetailing. But basically how I got started, went to a seminar, I was young, I was hungry. I knew I wanted to build wealth and make money. And I knew the wholesale model would work for me, especially in the beginning, because I really didn't have a lot of capital. So I actually sold my car for some money to have in the bank so I could figure out this real estate thing. And I bought a really cheap car and kind of kept the difference for myself. So I grinded, man. I was really, scrappy in the beginning. I'm still pretty scrappy, but I guess in the beginning it was more of a different kind of scrap because you have to kind of just use all your resources you have at the time, which wasn't very many.
Sure, man. So Greg, like a lot of people, obviously after their 20s to college and things like that, like, tell me about that, dude. So why not college? Why all of a sudden jump into real estate and be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I actually did go to college. I didn't mention that. So I actually started this when I was in college. So I was going to college and I did this, I guess, as a part-time job on the side, except I treated this like a full-time job. So I actually, it's funny you brought that up because I used college as a pretty good reason for me to struggle in real estate investment because it allowed me to really have the time to figure out how to do this because I was going to school as a full-time student. So I was doing this as a full-time college student. So by the time I graduated, the business was working pretty well. So I actually used college almost as like a way to kind of not have to go get a job or anything. And it bought me a lot of time to learn some of the hard lessons of this business. So I didn't mention that, but yeah, I was a full-time college student. I graduated last year and now I'm a full-time investor.
Dang, dude. Nice, bro. So Greg, for those that said, for those that are in there, because I have people hit me up, man, they're like 18, 20, and then they'll be like, hey, I have no money. I'm in school. Like, should I go to college? Should I go to school? Should I be an entrepreneur? Should I start my own business? What's your take on that, dude?
Yeah, I love that question. I'm glad you brought that up. I think college, it really depends on what you want to do. If you're trying to be an entrepreneur or you want to be a salesperson or something, I don't think you need to go to college. I think my parents really wanted me to go. That was like a big family tradition, so I didn't want to object to them. It really wasn't that big of a deal for me, so I did it. I got through it. But I think if you're at a position where you're going to have to get in a lot of debt for college and it's going to be a substantial financial investment, and you want to be an entrepreneur after you're done, I mean, I don't think you need to go. I mean, I think if you want to go, great, but just make sure you don't get yourself in a position where you're saddling 6 figures of student loan debt, because that's going to really hold you back from being an entrepreneur. You're going to have a lot of financial liabilities. So I think that the big thing is if you think college could work for you can see the benefit. Maybe it's networking, maybe it's learning specific things, great. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to get in sales, man, the way you get paid is by providing value in the market, and college probably won't do that for you. It's just going to raise your credibility. But nowadays everyone's getting degrees, so it's becoming less valuable.
Gotcha. Hey, Greg, dude, I would love to get you on a live IG, man, and then where we can just knock out questions for people, dude. That'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely, brother. We'll do that.
So Greg, let's jump right into it, dude. So how did you so could you let people know that which market you're in and kind of what marketing channel that you're working on that's generating you results?
Absolutely. So I'm in 2 different markets. So I'm from New York originally. I go back there quite a bit because we have a lot of houses over there. So upstate New York, Orange County area. So that's about an hour north of New York City. So it's called the Hudson Valley. So that's one of my markets. That market, we're doing a lot of wholesaling and wholesaling up there. The second market where we're pretty big in right now is Dallas-Fort Worth, which is a very hyper-competitive market. It's in North Texas. So the DFW market, we've done a lot of business there over the last year. So those are the 2 areas that I focus on. I've tried to dabble in some other areas, and I really didn't see much traction there. I think New York and Dallas I know very well, and I have good systems in those markets. So that's where we're focusing hot and heavy right now, those two areas, Dallas and New York.
Gotcha. So, Greg, you mentioned that it took you 9 months to get your first deal.
Yes, it took me 9 long months, man. It was a scrappy battle, man. I had black eyes and bloody nose, and man, it was tough.
Oh, dude. So it took you longer than it took me. It took me 6 months, man. But man, every day every day I was praying. I was like, man, when is this ever going to happen?
Yeah, it's crazy. You think it's almost like you see people making money and you think it's like for other people, and you're like, oh, he's making money, but blah, blah, blah. You have all this trash in your head. And like, I thought like it was such a fantasy to like make money in real estate. And then when I actually did it, I was like, oh my God, it works. And then like, boom, it's just like, I don't know what happened, like snowballs. And then you're like, oh my God. And then game changer, man.
Yeah, man. So Greg, could you share briefly how did your first wholesale or how was your first deal? Was it a wholesale deal?
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you the skinny on it. So the first real good wholesale deal, I'll count my first real good one, because the other one was kind of like kind of a sketchy, it wasn't a great buy. So this is a better one. So I in the beginning, this is a great tip for people who are brand new. If you don't have a lot of money and you have a lot of time, which is a lot of young people, right? If you're under 25, usually that's the case. Go out and put out, and I don't know, disclaimer, I don't know if your city's going to allow them. I would put out bandit signs every single week, religiously, consistently, persistently. I was like the Orange County bandit sign boy, running out of my car, could barely afford my car, sticking out bandit signs, Google Voice number, and I was just scrappy. So I put out bandit signs. I got a call one day from a pretty motivated seller. I really had no experience talking to people, so I was just kind of shooting from the hip. Seller was motivated. She wanted to sell a property. I really didn't know what I was doing at the time, so I actually called a guy that I met. He's a local investor that I'm really good friends with now. He's more experienced than me. And I said, hey, I got this deal. I think she's ready to go. I knew that he knew the area very well. I didn't know the area. So we decided to do a partnership on it. So what we did was we tied the property up and we wholesaled it. I think it was like $12K wholesale fee or something like that. We ended up splitting it 50-50. He had a buyer, I had the seller, obviously, and we split the profit. And I remember I had a check for, $5,000 or $6,000 after closing costs. And like, it was the craziest thing ever. Like, it was it was unbelievable, that feeling. And then after that, I started to do a lot more deals with bandit signs. And that's really how I got started, man. I got my business off the ground, like basically backed by bandit signs.
Oh, dang, dude. So, dude, don't tell me you did 9 months of bandit sign, bro.
I did 9 months of bandit signs, bro.
Woo!
Scrappy.
Man, that's why I call him the young hustler. Dude, you guys, do you know how tough, like, hey, so in your area, Greg, do you have to, so do you put them up Friday and then take them down Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, man.
I have so much experience with those things, man. I would take them out, pick them up. I had no money to pay anyone. The thing is, I wanted it, man. And it's funny you say that, because I knew when I was putting those bandit signs out, especially when I was really broke and really young a couple of years ago, I knew that was going to separate me from everyone else. I knew that no one was going to be as consistent as I was. No one was going to do it every weekend. And I was just going to focus on what I had control over. And I knew I'd be looking back on that 3 years later being like, man, I'm glad I did that, because that got me that one deal, which allowed me to fund that marketing channel, which got me that deal, which started the snowball and started the momentum. And now live in San Diego and can kind of do deals remotely. So it's all about those little efforts, man. It's all about the consistency, my friend.
Yeah, man. Now you're living the dreams, bro. Dude, I wish that I start the real estates and I met you at the same age, bro. I would have had a different level, dude. So now, Greg, bandit sign, people probably all want to know, how much money were you putting up and how many sign were you putting up religiously every single week?
Yeah, so we were consistently putting about 20 to 25 bandit signs every week. But the thing was, we were doing it in the same areas. So basically, I had like a whole system. It was like, we had like 4 zones in Orange County where I'm from. And I would put the bandit signs out like in one of the 4 zones once a week. But then, so basically once a month, every zone was getting hit. So people would see the same message consistently. So we were putting 20 to 25 signs out every week, because that was, I felt like that was the amount of signs where you're getting the lead calls, but you're not getting like, the, hey, like we're going to freaking hammer you because you're, illegal putting out signs. So it was enough to get some attention, but it wasn't enough to really get yourself in trouble. So then we would just alternate the bandit signs around certain areas in Orange County. So 20 to 25 signs. The thing is, it's consistency, because I used to get calls from people, and I branded it like I had like a catchy brand that I put too that people would remember. It was Alex Buys Houses. So people, like, it was really catchy. And, we would get calls from people like, I saw your sign like a year ago, and I just kept seeing them. And now we want to sell our house and we're going to do a deal with you. So it's all about the consistency and the repetition. A lot of sellers calling in, they might not want to do business with you, but all you need is that one seller who's ready to take action, and that can change your life.
Dude, bro, Greg, I love it, man. Dude, 9 months of bandit sign. You guys putting up every Friday, taking up a Sunday, doing again 20 to 30
signs. More than
signs.
9 months, by the way. That was to get a deal, and then I kept doing that like a year and a half after. I did bandit signs like hardcore. You ask any of my good buddies from New York, they'll be like, dude, that crazy guy was out there, every Friday, except in the winter because it was snowing out, but a year and a half consistently. And I knew that was going to separate it, man. And there was nothing else I wanted to do besides put out bandit signs, because it was my business. I was building my wealth. I wasn't building someone else's wealth. So to me, it didn't matter, because it was my company that I was in control of.
Dude, Greg, man, dude, at an age of like, at the time, at like 20, with that kind of mindset and mentality and determination, bro, where do you get that?
You know what? I don't know, man. It's, once I kind of like something, I kind of go all into it. And I knew that this is a long-term play for me. I knew that this is, I don't know. It just, I like it. I'm passionate about it, man. I definitely think there's some good days, some bad days, and some just kind of regular days in this business. And the bad days really suck. The good days are amazing. And I like the game, man. I like the process. I enjoy, kind of the personal growth and the evolution that comes with, growing in business and growing in life. And I don't know, man. It just kind of always had a little fire in me ever since I was like a little kid. I've always kind of been driven and scrappy and stubborn and, picky and pushy. So I don't know, man. It's just always kind of been in me. I know that sounds kind of weird and cliche, but I've always been like that, whether it was in hockey or whether that was in, once I took a liking to something, I really liked it and I went all into it. And I love it, man. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I've always just kind of had a little fire in me since I was a little kid. Always had a little chip on my shoulder, I guess.
Good, man. All right, you guys, let's get into the juice. Dallas, Texas, and New York. Those are the 2 areas that you're wholesaling out of. Now, Greg, what is now? I don't want you to give information from you hearing something or you reading a book, but what you're actually doing, the marketing channel that you're doing right now, bro.
Okay. So I'll talk about two of them that are near and dear to my heart. So I don't do many bandit signs anymore, even though they do work. And my buddy just made like 140K off 2 houses off bandit signs. So it works. I should probably go back and start doing them, and I have people actually put them out for me now. But so we're doing two things. In Dallas, we're doing a lot of skip tracing. And in New York, we're doing a lot of direct mail. So I'll get into skip tracing first. And this is something that I've been doing for a long time now. And it's basically the art of, and skip tracing and cold calling are like, they're very similar. It's like almost like ketchup and mustard. They go together. So a lot of people talk about just mass cold calling, and that works fine. You know, you can get the mojo dialer and just cold call, and it's a big numbers game. We're not doing that. We're doing stuff where we're basically extremely targeted on who we're going after, and we're kind of reverse engineering lists, stacking lists. I think that's a popular thing going on. And we're going after people who are on, 4, 5, 6 different lists at one time. We're skip tracing. So what we're doing is we're identifying the properties that are on those lists, and then we're taking the properties once we have them, and then we're reverse engineering who is on title, who owns this thing, right? Is it a person? Is the person alive? Are they not alive? Or can we reach the heirs? So we're going after properties basically with hair on them. We're skip tracing those properties, and then we're finding the people who are legally allowed to sell that house, and then we're reaching out to them via cold calling and texting, and we're seeing if they're ever we're seeing if they're ever interested in an offer on the property. A lot of the times when they're in 6 lists, and that is a lot of the times, they either didn't know they owned the property, or they thought that they used to own the property, but they can't sell it for some reason. That is the best thing you want to hear, because if they already thought they couldn't sell the house and you know they can, I'm just hearing dollar signs, because now they basically gave a property back, usually for taxes, and now
Hey, Greg.
you there?
Yeah, man. For some
Awesome.
reason, I'm having trouble with my internet, dude. That was so good, bro. You guys, I'm so sorry. My internet got fixed, but I don't know what happened, but I'm having a little issue. Dude, Greg, that was so awesome, dude. So kind of continue where you said that you were skip tracing. Yeah, so if you can repeat the last like 30-second or so.
Oh yeah, for sure. So anyway, so what we're doing is we like going after really niche lists. So we're tax delinquent lists are great, foreclosure lists. But the thing is, with all those lists, you can add upon those lists. Like, it's not just tax delinquent. A lot of the time, if it's tax delinquent, it's going to have code violations on it. A lot of the times, if it has code violations and it's tax delinquent, it's probably vacant. So you can go on Google Street View. In most cities, the Street View is very good, very updated. You can see if it's probably vacant. If it's tax delinquent, it's vacant, it's got code liens. A lot of times the owners aren't alive, and you skip trace it and you see the owners have passed away and there was no probate or no will or anything, and the thing's a mess. So we really just go after properties like that, because that's where we're solving a lot of problems. My issue when I started was I didn't know who my customer was, and I actually looked at my top best deals I've ever done, and they were all the common denominator was they were tax delinquent, they were vacant, and the owners weren't alive. So I'm like, how do I reverse engineer a list that is going to fit that criteria and then market to those people only? So that's what we're doing for skip trace. That's what we're doing in Dallas. We're doing a little bit of that in New York, but the thing I've noticed in New York is that it's not as big of a market as DFW. There's 9 million people in DFW, so statistically there's more of those properties in that market based on the demographics. New York, we're doing a lot of direct mail, so we're doing targeted direct mail, niche lists, and we like the tax delinquent list, the vacant list, stuff like that. Just more distress lists. And what we're doing with the direct mail is we're doing a combination of postcards, we're doing letters, and we're split testing. So my big thing with direct mail is I like to, take my mail pieces that I'm using, and I kind of make a projection of what I think the numbers are going to be. Like, let's say I send 2,000 postcards. I think I'm going to get 20 calls. We're going to get 15 leads. We're going to make 7 offers, get 1 contract. So I like to actually make a projection of what I think the numbers are going to be. And then I wait for the mailing campaign cycle to go through, and then I actually see what happened, what the results were, and then I compare the hypothesis to the result, and then I tweak, I make adjustments accordingly. So a lot of direct mail, used to really have a tough time with direct mail, and it's definitely a little bit more expensive, but once you have some experience, it's a really good way to get leads coming in without much effort. The skip tracing is great, but it's a lot more legwork and a lot of research, a lot of title problems. Direct mail is more of you spend the money, the leads come in, and you just have to do a good job closing them.
Gotcha, man. So everybody probably want to know, man. So where do you pull? Oh, so where do you pull these lists, or where do you get them?
Yeah, so it really depends. In Texas, there's list brokers out there. I think like Rebo Gateway or stuff like that, where they'll give you lists of tax delinquent properties. There's another company called Find Real Estate Worldwide, Find Motivated Sellers Now. They have a nationwide vacant list. They have equity lists and stuff like that. So a lot of brokers. And then a lot of other lists you can just get from your county if you know how to ask correctly. So a lot of counties are going to release the tax delinquent list. They're going to give you the NOD list or the list pending list, which is pre-foreclosure in New York. So a lot of it is public. Actually, it all is public record, but you'll be surprised. And a lot of counties will give you that information if you know where to go and you know how to ask for it. A lot of times you have to pay for it, but I mean, if you can pay $80 to get a list, it's going to make you, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's definitely worth the investment. So public records and then data providers.
Cool, man. And then when you get this list, Greg, what company do you use to skip trace, and do you use Mojo for calling them?
Nope, we're not using Mojo. We're using CallRail. We're not doing auto dialers. We're doing targeted stuff. We're just doing one-off phone calls, and we're doing a lot of texting, manual texting, just because we're not doing a lot of volume in terms of the leads. We're like basically like an example is we're taking a list of like 1,000 and we're whittling it down to like the top 100, and then we're just focusing on that 100. So we're doing one-off calls for that because we're targeted. Because the thing I notice is if you don't go deep with these really complex properties, they fall through the cracks easily. So we take the properties and we like have like a system that we use to like get in touch with them. Or if we can't get in touch with them after like a month of trying, we just close the file and we're like, it's not worth it anymore. So we really try to go as deep as we can with these properties. And then for the what was your question again? It was with
for the skip trace company. Which company are you using?
Yeah. So there's a real good company. Really good friends with the owner. It's called Skip Genie. So I actually got started with Skip Genie. They taught me literally all about this stuff. I had no clue how to skip trace and stuff like that. So Skip Genies who are using the skip trace, they're good because they have really good data and they don't require you to go through a lot of the red tape that some of these other bigger skip trace companies make you do. Like they got to go to your office. They got to do a bunch of stuff, background check. They pretty much have to draw your blood. Just kidding. But they make you go through a lot of red tape. So Skip Genie is good. They don't make you do any of that, and they have quality data.
And so what is the cost on that?
I think Skip Genie, so the way that they do it is I think they're $47 a month or $97 a month, depending on what you sign up for. And then after that, I think it's like 40 something cents a skip or something. It's cheap. It's really reasonable. It's like 45 cents a skip or 60 cents. I don't quote me on it. I don't have it in front of me, but it's really, once you pay the subscription fee, the actual per skip is really reasonable. And the thing with them is you can go on the cheap stuff and get the stuff from Been Verified, but you really get what you pay for there. You're going to get cheap data, but it's not very effective data. And if you're going after properties with hair on them, you need to have the best data possible because you don't want to spin your wheels and waste your time.
Gotcha, man. I absolutely agree. And then Greg, how are you building your cash buyer list?
Yeah. So in Dallas, I actually JV with people. I actually JV with one person. So I got into the position where I was tying up properties. I didn't know what to do with them because I didn't have like a database or anything. So I actually found a local investor who's very successful in that market. And I just kind of said, hey, listen, man, I'm going to have some of these deals coming in. I don't live in Texas. I don't really plan on meeting these sellers or anything. So if I could give you good properties and tie them up, would you want to, sell them on your list and we can come up with a JV agreement? And he was like, yeah, that'd be great. So I'm actually partnering with someone in Dallas and he's taking care of literally like a half of the transaction, like all the legwork, boots on the ground, everything. So that's how I'm doing it in Dallas. I'm just partnering with another investor. In New York, I've had a buyer's list for a while now. I used to live there. I moved to California a couple months ago. So just really the big thing with a buyer's list is networking. And then really, just kind of telling people what you do, going to networking events, putting stuff on social media. You can go on Craigslist and say, hey, listen, I'm looking for buyers, blah, blah, blah. Another good way to get your buyer's list is actually when you get a deal and you tie up a property and try to sell it on like Craigslist or something or Zillow, whatever, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to be interested. Maybe it's not a fit, but either way, you take their information, you keep it in your database, and you just keep sending them, properties. And another thing I've noticed with the buyers is that, I'm a big believer in the 80-20 principle, and 20% of the buyers are going to buy 80% of your properties most likely. at least on the list perspective. Sometimes we're selling our wholesale deals on like Facebook and Zillow, which is a really cool way to do it. We get a lot of one-off buyers who are going to pay more. I can get into that if you'd like. Yeah, really just kind of consistently the thing is making daily habits. Like, how do I get my buyers list to 100 people? What's the one activity that I need to do every day that's going to give me the best chance to get my buyers list to 100 people? And then once it's 100, how do I get to 500? 500, how do I get to 1,000? Just making those daily habits and consistently growing a little bit every day.
Awesome, man. Hey, the one thing that I like, what Greg just pointed out, you guys, is that he does a JV deal over in Dallas, Texas, and he just finds like the biggest investor in there, and where the guy's already doing deals, he just takes his deal, send it over to him. Like, he locks him up on a contract. The guy over there already built up his cash buyer unless you already have a list of buyers already. He's in the area, and you're just sending him the deals, and that's it.
That's it. It's very simple, and I think I'm a big believer in like collaborating with people, and like in that situation, he's getting value because I'm getting deals he probably wouldn't have gotten, and he's just like, man, I'm getting these deals sent to me, and I'm getting value because I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I never have to go to the house. I never have to meet the seller in person. I never have to go to the closing table, and I'm getting these things sold with a guy who knows what he's doing. So, and we're taking deals down too together. We're not just wholesaling. So we're buying properties and doing little mini rehabs, nothing crazy, wholesale stuff. And, we're selling them. I don't have to go to those projects. I don't go there or anything. I just, send the money and wait for the deal to close.
Love it, man. Dude, if you guys don't get anything from this, I think that is something that you guys can take away. Wink, hit Greg up if you're in that area. You got deals, send it to him. He sent it to his buyers, and there you guys go. Half of your battle is gone, right? Because what it is half your battle is taking down the seller. The other half the battles is finding the cash buyer to close on that deal. And if you can connect with somebody that already built up their cash buyer, they already been in the business for a long time, all you're doing is you just work your deal off of them. You lock it up on a contract, you send it over to them, and definitely you want to make sure that you're protected and make sure that you work with someone that has good reputations and not trying to go around your back and things like that. But I'll make sure after this done that I'll make sure Greg will drop his info so you guys can hit him up.
Shizzle.
So Greg, so you share with us kind of, for those that are starting out and trying to build their cash buyer list, what is your tips on building up some cash buyers? I know you mentioned networking. What are some other ways?
Yeah, so you could network, just go into meetings and stuff like that. A lot of people are probably going to be tire kickers. Another good way we used to do it was go to the courthouse steps. So any county there's foreclosure auctions, those are real cash buyers. Or you can go to the tax auctions too in your county because they have to literally pay cash for the property. They're giving the referee a cashier's check when they win the bid. So those are legit buyers. I think a lot of social media is powerful. Putting yourself out there and saying, hey, listen, I'm an investor. I'm doing deals. I'd be looking to, I'm going to wholesale some properties. If you'd be interested in some discounted properties off market, feel free to reach out to me. Another way is, like I said, when you get a property under contract, really putting it out there to sell it, whether it's Craigslist, Zillow, et cetera, and getting any lead that comes in, whether they buy the property or not, taking their information and putting it in the database, because you never know. One buyer who didn't buy your one property could love the next property you're sending out. It could fit their criteria. So just always being aware of adding to that database, however you need to get their email, networking. I mean, there's so many ways you can pull public records actually, and you can go on ListSource and basically search for, you go on ListSource and you pretty much look for like all properties in the last 6 months that were corporately owned, that were 99 to 100% equity, absentee owned. Like, you can reverse engineer that on ListSource, and then you can just cold call them or mail them. So, and there's another software called Find Cash Buyers Now. I think it's part of REWW, and they have it's the same thing. It's like public records. And yeah, you can even go to your county actually, and you can look it through the recorder's office on all properties that were purchased with no mortgage in an LLC, and those are your cash buyers essentially. So there's so many ways to do it. You just got to have some, you got to be a little hungry, and you got to be willing to roll your sleeves up, and you can build a pretty big buyers list quickly.
Love it, man. So now, Greg, could you share with us kind of what your day is like, dude? Everybody want to know what a day of a 23-year-old real estate investor wholesaler is doing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big believer in daily habits and stuff, so I really love talking about this stuff. So I actually read you my schedule right now. I have it right in front of me. So here we go. So I get up in between 5 and 6 every day, and the first thing I do is this is a big tip. I don't look at my cell phone. I don't even look at it. It goes off to wake me up, and then I push the alarm, and I don't look at my phone. Like the first hour, hour and a half of my day, I have no idea what's going on. I don't want to look at my phone. I don't want to read my texts or anything. And I go, I take a shower, I brush my teeth, I start the coffee pot, and then I sit down, I read for a half hour every morning. I write my goals down. It takes me about 5 minutes. I make sure that I'm doing, and then I write this question down. What's the one thing I can do today such that by doing that one thing, everything else is going to be easier or unnecessary? It gets me really clear on what the number one priority I need to do for the day is. Then I make sure that gets done, usually at time blocking. After that, I read my affirmations, just like, my vision statement, where I'm heading, where I'm at, what I need to do to get there. After that, what I do is I hop on my computer and I do a time block of whatever I need to do. It's usually strategic activities that are getting me closer to my goals. Do a time block for about an hour and a half. Then I'll check my phone. Then I'll kind of answer emails and put out some fires. Then I usually like to work out after that. So I'll go to the gym, work out for an hour. Won't bring my phone with me. That's the key. I don't like my phone very much, so it's hard to get a hold of me because it's so distracting. After that, I'll come back, eat some lunch. Then I'll head to the office. I have an office down the road. Walk down to the office. I usually work just in time blocks. So I'll have a time block based on the activities I need to do. I'll have a call block where I'll, take any calls, answer any calls, make any outbound calls, work on deals we're working on. Then after that, I do another time block, answer more calls, do another time block. So I kind of go in and out of time blocks all day. After that, once the day's winding down, around 5, 6 o'clock, usually I'll go out, meet with some friends, maybe go on a little date or something. Depends on what I got going on. Go to a networking event. And then after that, I just kind of wrap the day up. I'll read for another half hour, maybe watch a couple YouTube videos, brush my teeth, and hit the hay. That's pretty much a day in the life. Nothing crazy.
Dude, man. So now, Greg, I know that, so everybody want to know, so what book are you reading right now?
I'm reading a book, one of my favorite books. I'm a big believer in reading like your favorite books over and over and over, getting really deep on the content and the understanding of it. So I'm reading a book called Principles by Ray Dalio right now for like the 7th time. It's a really, really good book. I think if you're going to be in this business for the long term, you got to buy that book and read it over and over again and study it, because it's basically it's a billionaire. His name's Ray Dalio. He's got the most successful hedge fund in the world, and he's like 67 years old or something like that. And he just wrote down his life principles and what made him successful. And they're very universal, and they're very tactical principles. So I'm reading that right now. I'm almost done with it. And that book's had a big impact in my life. I read that book before last year, so in 2017, and it literally changed my life. It really made me think about my business a lot differently, and it really helped me find a lot more success in some of these newer markets by applying the stuff that he talks about.
Nice, man. So, and Greg, how's your team looking right now?
Yeah, so it was a little bit bigger. Now it's very small. I'm a very lean and mean operation. I do a lot of the day-to-day stuff. I had a VA. I still use VAs from time to time. And then my other team, the way I look at my team is like, I have the guy in Texas who does 50% of the stuff for me. So like, he's a big team member, even though he's not an employee, he's a partner, JV partner, not a formal partner. So it's me, him in Texas, and then, a couple VAs. It's pretty lean and mean. And then in New York, pretty much me. And then I have some lenders I work with and some backers who will, fund some of my deals, and we can JV those or whatever. So it's really me and some VAs. I'm a very lean operation. I was thinking about scaling a little bit bigger of a wholesale operation, but I actually want to kind of keep it a little more lean and mean for now and really scale out more of a bigger apartment, commercial multifamily business. So that's where I think I'm going to want to scale out a bigger team. So for now, it's very small. It's just me. And I like it because there's not a lot of overhead every month. I really don't have a ton of overhead. It's very manageable. I can pivot different strategies because I don't have like a ton of money going out every month. And, I really like this business. I think a lot of people, and there's no one size fits all. There's no right answer, but a lot of people try to, build these businesses, and they're big and I guess they're successful, but they create all this craziness where like they have like 15 employees now, and they're spending their whole day managing employees. And I'd rather just do more deals and be more profitable than have to manage people all day. And that's just my opinion. There's no right or wrong answer, but right now I kind of like having a lean, mean operation, especially living out in California, doing, that was a big move for me. So that's kind of where I'm at with the team.
Nice, man. Greg, I agree with you, dude. Our whole thing is that small but powerful. It's all, dude, it really all comes down to it's the bottom line.
That's it, man. How much money are you making? That's the thing. Yep. Everyone always wants to say, how many deals are they doing? I guess that's a good metric, but if you're doing 50 deals and you made $3,000 a deal and you have, 40% overhead, it's like, all that brain damage for all that. I'd rather make, 600 G's and, do 50 deals or 60, whatever, and have that be 70% profitable and then pay a big tax bill to the IRS, I'm just kidding about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, you guys don't like when people say how many deals they're doing, it sounds sexy. Oh, I'm doing over 100 deals this year, or I'm doing, I'm closing 10, 12 deals. It sounds sexy versus someone said, oh, I only do like 1 or 2 deals. But dude, the question is, how much are you making on those deals and what's going to the bottom line? Because I know that there's a guy in California does like 10 or 12 deals, but each of his deals are like 60 to 100 G's per deal.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, exactly. It's like what? Exactly. I think it's very easy to say I do 10 deals a month, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But if you do 10 deals a month and you end up netting, 10K, like that, I wouldn't want that. I'd rather make, 50 G's in a month and do 2 deals. I think it all comes down to what you want. And I think a lot of people think they need to do a lot of deals to be successful. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are you cool with? What do you want? What's the purpose of the business? And then how much do you want to make? And then how many deals do you need to do to make that money, and just being flexible with that is super important.
Love it, man. Love it. So Greg, let's wrap this up, bro. So could you let everybody know how to connect with you? Do you have a channel, a station? How?
Yeah, for sure. So my favorite social platform is Instagram. So you can follow me at Grego, Grego _37. So that's Grego, Grego _37. I put out content daily on that. If you want to get in touch with me, you can email me, Greg, Greg, @velocityhousebuyers.com. It's going to take me a while to get back to you. I'm very bad with email and responding, so it may take a little while, but I will get back to you. And then Facebook, Greg Helbeck, Greg Helbeck. I put out weekly content, lessons I'm learning, deals I'm doing. I just put out a new post today. So I always got stuff on the internet. YouTube, you can just Greg Helbeck. I put out weekly videos, book reviews. I put out a lot of content. So it's pretty easy to find me, and feel free to connect with me. I'd be happy to help you any way I can.
Awesome, man. So you guys, I had a pleasure when I was in California, San Diego, went to a GC meeting. I had a pleasure to actually went out to dinner and eat with Greg. Super genuine guy. He's super genuine. He's open to help. I mean, at the age of 23, to me, at the age of 23, doing what he has doing right now and has accomplished, like, doing 40 G's, dude, like in a month, dude, that's not something I was doing when I was 23. So, with where he's at, dude, like like put on some sunglasses, bro, because the future is just super freaking bright for you, dude.
Yeah. Listen, it's just all about being consistent, man. I think, being young is cool, doing deals when you're young, it's great. But at the end of the day, like, it's all about just having good habits and being consistent. I mean, I was fortunate. I mean, I played hockey, so I had some rough times in hockey, and I wanted to go down another path that didn't work out. So I just think, you know what I mean? If you're young and you're listening to this, I mean, it wasn't always, I mean, it's never like, it definitely, it gets a little different once you start doing more deals. Like, you have different problems, but you just got to stick with it. You got to be persistent. Like, the key is persistence. Like, I think all these books I read, the common denominator is always like persistence. And man, if you stick with it long enough and you're persistent, I mean, you will be successful. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. You got to be patient. You got to have the right expectations, and you got to really get good at finding out what are the key things that matter, and then just focusing your time on doing those things. Like, I'm a big believer in like productivity and time blocking. That's why it's hard to get a hold of me. That's why I don't answer the phone and stuff. It's just, I'm such a big believer in focusing and being consistent and tracking my numbers. And if you do that, you'll see a big increase in results. And the more you can read, the more you can hang out with people who are successful, ask good questions and stuff like that. You'll be surprised when you consistently put the effort in every day. What you can accomplish is pretty cool, and it's all about growth. So happy to help your listeners out, man. I'm glad you brought me on.
Yeah, man, I love it, Greg. Dude, thank you so much. Now, Greg, a few last questions.
For sure, man.
When you were starting out, and it took you 9 months to get your first deal, within those nine months, dude, have you ever thought about, man, is this for me? Should I keep going?
Yeah, all the time. That still happens. We'll lose money on a house, or we'll get ourselves into like a quagmire deal, and we're like in a jam, and like I'm always like, it's terrible. I should go, do e-commerce. Like, it happens all the time. It still happens today. Like, I remember I had a week where I made 45K in 1 week on a deal. Like, literally, it was on a couple deals and some other stuff I was doing. And then like the next week, I was doubting myself, and I was like, oh, oh, you know, the sky's falling. It happens all the time to any successful people. Ask anyone, they'll say, you know, they have those days. There's up days, there's down days, there's neutral days. And the thing you got to realize is like, when you have those negative days, those down days, especially in business, when you just feel like you're getting your teeth kicked in, you got to understand the pendulum's going to swing on the other side of success eventually. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I stuck with it. I'm so glad I persisted. And you have to just drill that into your brain. And that's why I'm a big believer in reading and having the right habits, because if you can train your mind to adapt to those things, when they happen, you're not going to be like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, you're like, oh, they told me it was going to be hard. I had to be persistent. Like, you have your expectations lined up. And if you don't have the right expectations, you're going to have a very tough get punched in the mouth. And I just had this, you know, crazy stuff happens all the time in business. You know, we have crazy deals go on and crazy sellers and lawyers screaming at us. It's part of the game. And you got to just get used to it. You know what I mean? That gets me fired up, that stuff, honestly.
Greg, dude, I love it, man. I love it, dude, because that is real, dude. That is real, bro. That is real. I love that, dude. You guys got to understand, man. I mean, when I was going at this too, like, I want to let you guys know that, you know, there were times when my wife and I got into real estate and I call people up and say, happy Monday, happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday, happy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there were some days in there, dude, that I was not happy, that I was super stressing out because things are going wrong. You know, things were going wrong. This is when I was fixing and flipping. I mean, even till today, there are days where that I'm stressing out. I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied with how the day went, and things happens. But I have to tell myself, dude, when I pick up that calls, I have to like transition and just say, hey, you know, if I dwell on it, it's not gonna make the situation better. So I'm telling you guys that when I go on live or I go on the channel, I said, happy Monday, happy Tuesday, happy this and that. But I want to let you guys know that it's not always cherry and rainbow every single day. Okay. I want to let you guys know that. So when you are going through things like this, it's okay. It's normal. So I definitely don't want you guys to think like, oh, my day is this and that. Oh, Kong's day, that people's day. They always seem to have a good day. No, man. Let's be real, dude. Let's be real. Yeah. No, dude.
And as you get bigger, your problems get bigger. Like now, like my problems this year are a lot different than my problems 3 years ago, you know? So you got to understand everyone goes through that. Everyone gets kicked around. I mean, we had a deal go south. There was a complete debacle. Like I was in a jam. Lawyers were yelling at me. It was insane. But like, that's part of the game. It happens. You're going to get beat up. We get in fights. We have deals that get hairy and we're putting liens on properties and threatening to sue and we're fighting. It happens. It's part of business. You have to understand like that stuff's going to happen. And the more you can grit through that stuff and push through it, the more experience you're going to have under your belt. And the more it's almost like you jump into a cold bath and it's freezing the first time. You've never experienced it. And when you keep jumping in, it's still cold, but you're used to it. You know what I mean? You have to train your brain to be like that or else you're going to have a tough time.
Dude, love it, man. And you guys also, like, do you guys listen to what Greg said? He said within those 9 months, he doubts himself. There was time where he's like, oh, man, is this it? Like, I want to let you guys know that I went through that too. So if you have those kind of stuff that pops up in your head, I want to let you know it is normal. Don't freaking freak out and say, oh, my gosh, I think successful people that made it, they don't have this kind of thoughts running through. No, the key is they just willing to stick with it and just commit.
100%, man. You got to stick with it. You got to be persistent. And, the more experience you have, the more you're going to get more used to it. You know what I mean? You're going to, I'm ready to go. We're going to fight. We got an attorney yelling at us, and you roll your sleeves up and you get after it. You duke it out, and that's, it gets, for some reason, I almost get excited when that stuff happens. I don't know if I'm just like a weirdo or something, but when we start getting into jams, I start rolling my sleeves up and I'm like pumped up. I'm like, let's do it. Let's pass the persistence test because we're getting tested right now. And if you have that mindset, it's really, it's definitely beneficial.
That's funny, Greg. Dude, you're like, put him in the boxing ring and let me knock him out.
I'm like a pit bull, man.
Yeah.
With no
Greg,
muzzle. Yeah.
Any last inspiring motivation word for those that are starting out? They're trying to, they're young. They're trying to do this business, or maybe they're trying to scale up their business or anything like that, bro. Pump them up.
Yeah, for sure. So this is not too sexy, but this will help you a lot. Track your numbers. You have to track certain KPIs in your business. Even if you're new, I don't care if you're new. How many leads did you get? How many offers did you make? How many contracts did you sign? How many deals did you close? leads, offers, contracts, closed deals. Track those numbers like a hawk and try to consistently improve those every single week. And if you do that for a half a year, you're going to be like, oh my God. Because if you have an issue, you know, everyone, like there's one of my friends, Mark Evans, always says data, not drama. Like people are like, oh my God, it's crazy. I don't know. And then like, he'll be like, well, how many offers did you make? And it's like, oh, I made 3 offers. Well, no wonder you haven't bought a house. You made 3 offers. You got to make 30 offers. And they're like, oh, well, and usually the thing there, when you track your numbers and you see that you're not making enough offers, it's usually reverse engineering to you're wasting your time. You're spending your time doing the wrong things. You're printing business cards when you should be making offers. Offers are uncomfortable to do, right? Making a business card is freaking easy, but that's not going to make you any money. So you got to do the stuff that's going to make you money, and usually that's going to be uncomfortable. And it's still a struggle for me. If I'm spinning my wheels and I have a bad week, it's usually because I'm wasting my time and I didn't say no to people. I didn't time block. So the stuff that's important is going to be uncomfortable, and you got to just get used to that.
Awesome, man. You guys, Greg, dude, bro, I want to say thank you so much for dropping so much nuggets, information, bro, and being an open book. Truly appreciate it, man. And I'm inspired for seeing Greg, how young he is, and compared to where I was when I was 23, my mindset and all of that. So to me, man, it just super pumped me up and inspired me so much, dude. And I want to say thank you so much, man, for putting out your precious time to jump on and give my audience some of this goal informations that you have to go through yourself, experience it, trial and error to have it figured out, and now you just give it to them. You guys, honestly, man, if you do enjoy this, please show my guest, Greg, the young hustler, show him, give him some thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, you should, at Khang, Khang, dot like a period, WTM. And maybe I'll get Greg on there and we'll do like a live Q&A on Instagram. If that's something you're interested in, I think that's pretty cool. Let me know, comment. You have any questions or anything like that, comment below. You want to scale your business up, you want to get to where Greg is, comment below, and then we'll be able to help you out. Greg, thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and let's crush 2019.
Yeah, thank you.